welcome back. We're being joined by an aviation expert, as we promised, Mr. Wale Shadari, who will be talking to us about what happened at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and what is happening in the aviation industry. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Shadari.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. So we heard we were not there. Activities were halted at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Please give us an insight to what led to that yesterday.
Thank you very much. I think for the past 1 week or thereabouts, the operators of MMA2 Murtala Mohammed Airport 2, what we call the old terminal, the privately owned terminal, had issues with the unions, different unions in the aviation industry, but spearheaded by ATSA, Association of Senior Staff, National Association of Senior Staff Members in Aviation. There have been deliberations between the operator of the terminal and the workers' union over the termination of the appointment of about 32 workers, which the unions felt didn't follow the normal procedure, the normal rules of engagement. So they've been having meetings in the last 1 or 2 weeks, back and forth, but 2 days ago, the meeting didn't yield any fruit, and by Company Aviation Services, the operator of the terminal stood his ground to say, well, they won't be able to do anything about the actions they took. And the unions had no other alternative than to compel by company the terminal operator to listen to them by shutting the premises of the operator, or what I say, the entire terminal. And if you look at that terminal, we have different airlines operating from that terminal. We have Air Peace, we have Ibom Air, we have ValueJet, we have United Nigeria Airlines, we have Aero Contractors, we have ARIC, ASMAN. All the airlines operating in Nigeria are operating from that terminal. So what happened when they shut the terminal was for the airlines to move their operations to the MMA1, the old domestic terminal. But the old domestic terminal is so small that it cannot take all the operations of the airline. So we had congestion yesterday, and it was so chaotic that a lot of passengers got stranded, a lot of people missed their trips, and it was like a marketplace yesterday. But as at 4:30 a.m. p.m. yesterday, the operator of the terminal by Company Aviation Services held another round of meeting with the unions, where it was resolved that to be recalled, and all their emoluments, or what is due to them, will be paid to them. But by company maintain that you have to accept people who would not add value to their operation, and the reason decided to disengage 32 workers of the company. But what do you they are not opposing the termination of the appointment of the workers, but they are saying that you must follow due process. You must pay them off. You must due to them. But by company said they have completed all the rules in the land, all the rules concerning to labor related, that they've complied with them. But as at the protest was called off, the picketing was called off. Of the Minister of Labor and Productivity of Aviation had the managing director of Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. This is not even the right time to begin to disrupt flight operations because we do not have enough infrastructure to cope with the volume of traffic in one airport. Because what happened yesterday forced all other airlines because they didn't want to lose money. They didn't want to be caught in the web of the crisis between Aviation Services Limited and the union. So they decided in a swift reaction, move their operations to GAT, but they were not able to operate all their schedule because of lack of facilities
Mr.
to cope
Shadori,
with the
just a moment,
upsurge.
Mr. Shadori.
Yeah.
We heard from the workers what was the problem, and apart from the fact that they are saying that they followed due process, what else is the people responsible, the Bicotny Aviation Services, what else are they saying as their own side of the story, why they did what they did? Because some of the people that were affected, or will I even say most of the people that were affected, were the leadership of this workers' union. So what led to that? They cannot say these are people who do not bring any value to the industry. So what is their side of the story so far?
Actually, I think this question should be directed to Bicotny Aviation Services Limited, but I can give you a hint of what happened. Okay. I think any employer of labor reserve the right to say, these people can no longer work for me. I may not be able to get the maximum benefit of what they are doing. And as such, they may decide. I'm not trying to speak for Bicotny, but I'm just thinking, hazarding a guess that, and from what Bicotny has said, that they followed due process because they couldn't continue with the services of the workers. But by and large, I do not have problem with disengagement of people. We all see it everywhere when people, employers of labor, feel that they can no longer cope with the salaries, emolument, and all the rest. They decide to trim down. And if we also look at it, the economic situation in the country for some entrepreneurs, for some business owners, do not support them to have that number of people that can work for them. This is just like in journalism. We know how the media industry has been impacted heavily by the economy, the realities of the economy, and we see a lot of people being asked to leave or being asked to even work for free. But that doesn't work in aviation industry. What we are saying and what a lot of people are saying is that if you need to disengage anybody, you need to pay them off. You need to ensure that their condition of service issue were dealt with before you can ask them to go. Because they will need to fall back on something before they can get a new job. And some will quickly get a new job, while others won't quickly get new jobs. So what we are saying in essence is that I do not work for Bicotny, but because of the things we have seen from the statement they have issued, that they reserve the right to hire and fire. But what we are saying is that employers of labor should have human face. If you're disengaging people, you have to pay them what is due to them. If you also look at it, whether they are the labor unions or no, they are still workers. And one thing that has happened in the aviation industry, and this is not the first time that we're going to have something like this happen. I think 2 or 3 years or before COVID, the unions also shut Bicotny Aviation Services Limited, the terminal, because the management of the company didn't want them to unionize. But after a long while, something also happened because similar issue happened, and the union shut down Bicotny for 3 days. Then we can begin to quantify the several millions of naira that they would have lost, and not only the operators, but the airlines that do services that operate from that terminal. They have lost a lot of money. Yes, the protest was called off, the picketing was called off at 4.
Mr. Wole, we're rounding off now. We get
Okay.
the picture you're trying to paint right now. We understand the point. But the question is, a lot of passengers were stranded yesterday. What is the picture?
Yeah.
What is the picture looking like for today? What is being done to at least make sure that passengers who are not a part of this back and forth, who have paid money legitimately to have their flights booked and all that, get to their destinations in peace and they don't have to have the struggles of yesterday?
Yes, I think the protest was, picketing was called off at 4:30 yesterday, and the airlines are operating normal schedule from MMA2. But you see, in every action, there are also consequences. For every action taken by either the operators of the terminal or by union, there will also be consequences. And the consequences of the thing that happened yesterday was that a lot of people couldn't travel, was that a lot of people got to their destinations late, was that it had a lot of negative impact on the schedule of airline operators. So it was a long chain of ineffectiveness caused by what happened yesterday. But as of today, airlines are operating normally. We haven't had any problem about stranded passengers. We haven't heard about people missing their flight. The terminal is operating. The airlines are operating normally from yesterday night.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Shadari, for your insight into this. We've had a lot of information from what you have described to us here. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
That was Mr. Wole Shadari, an aviation expert, aviation correspondent. So he's very close to where the action is happening. But he did mention one thing that struck me, that at some point the company, the aviation company that is in contention right now, didn't even want a union to be formed.
I think that is a huge red flag.
Yeah, and when we read the story was saying that these people who were sacked were at the vanguard of asking for the rights of the workers to be implemented.
Sure.
Maybe the emoluments, maybe some other monies that were supposed to come to them, and they were not coming, and these people were there. Chairman of the union was sacked, secretary of the union was sacked, and all that. So there's something fishy.
Doesn't make sense.
And this also speaks to the fact that some employers of labor just want to bleed their people dry, overwork them, underpay them, and still, after all, in your appointment, they told you any other thing that can be can be brought to you.
I honestly hope that they would be able to come on the run-up and speak for themselves, tell us their own part of the story, so it will be balanced.
Okay, our next guest will be standing by after the news. We will bring him on. Mr. Akatuba will be talking about the redesigning of the Naira, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, a boon or a bane, as we called it, and that will be having his own perspective. In the meantime, we'll take this break. When we come back from the news, we'll continue with the run-up. Stay with us.